What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the next video on learning PHP object-oriented programming. My name is QDSDani and you guys watching my channel Coriowood. In this video we're going to talk about the property or attribute overloading. So how we do property in our loading PHP is totally different to we do overloading in, say, for example, in Java or C++ or any other C++ style family of languages. Okay, so if you're coming from say, for example, Java or C++, so we do overloading. Say, for example, if you have a function Corio, and then if you want to overload this one, you put the same name here, especially in C++. So in order for you to overload this one, because you have the same function, you can't just declare the same name here and change the parameter inside. Say, for example, you're going to put this one as a string, or you can put this one as int. So if you want to overload this one again, then here you guys need to increase this one. Say, for example, you can put int. Okay, so you can put a string here as well. So for example, if you put int or string, then you guys need to increase this one. Say, for example, this one's gonna say double, for example. So if you have two parameter here, then you can leave it two parameter here, then you can increase this one, say, for example, to double. If you guys notice, we have the same name in all of these functions, but the only difference is the function signature. For example, if here we are changing the parameters here. So now if you look in here, this function is totally different from this function. This function is totally different from these two. Okay, so this is property overloading in other languages such as C++ or Java. But you might be surprised, but in PHP it's totally different, because property or attribute overloading in PHP means we are creating something. So we can create, or we can get an access, say, for example, to undeclared or public or private or protected property. So if you for example, if you're doing programming in PHP, every now and then we might need to add some data to our objects at the runtime. For example, in our pet classes, our animal classes, we haven't declared attributes. For example, a lot of if this has a fur, or it has a, for example, tag, or it has any other attribute, say, for example, price, or it has vaccinated, or it went to the clinic or not. And while if you are running on your program, we might need such that attributes. For example, if the pet has been vaccinated or not, and we might but in our runtime we might need that sort of attributes. For example, such as if our pet has been vaccinated, or our pet has a serial number, or our pet has a, for example, tag. We might want to put that in our objects at the runtime. So PHP allows to achieve that such dynamic attribute addition to at runtime in terms of attribute overloading. That dynamic declaration attributes become polymorphic enough in use and can be overloaded easily. So how do we overload, for example, in PHP? You guys need to put a public. You guys cannot put a private or anything else. So I'm gonna bring this one here. We can use magic methods, for example, to create our property overloading, because we're going to create the dynamic attributes or dynamic properties. Say, for example, here we can put a public, and we can put a set, for example. Set, we're going to set the property, and the set one takes two parameters here. The first one is going to take, for example, string, and it's going to take name. And the second one is going to say it's a mixed, for example, value. And that's set, and we can get the second one is going to be get. Say, for example, we get to public, and we do get. That's a magic method as well, but this guy here takes only one. So it's going to take, say, for example, string, and we can put a name. this only takes one, and this one takes two. So you can put this one here on top of this one. So we're gonna put it here on top of this one. And set ones is type void, and get one's gonna be the type. This one's gonna be the type mixed. All right. So there is another two beside this set and get. We can put a public. We can put a isset. So we can put a isset here, and this is going to be the type of boolean, if it's set or not. So we're going to say if our attribute has set or not. When this one is going to take one name, and the last one is going to be, say for example, public, and it's going to be unset. So the unset one deletes whatever properties we have created. So it's going to be string, and we're going to put a name here. So there are four here in PHP, especially the top, these two guys here. The first one is we're going to set, and we put a string name, and there is a mixed value, the second parameter here, but the get one takes one, for example here, and here is a type mixed. But keep in mind, this is the type void. So here, this is a type boolean, and the last one is unset. So it's not inset, so it's unset. And this guy, the last one is going to be the type void. So the first one, the set one is run when writing data to an inaccessible, say for example for our public or private, our non-existent properties. And the second one, which is we read this one as the first. The second one, which is a get, is utilized for reading data for inaccessible, for example, it's a protected or private or non-existent properties. And this guy's here isset is invoked by calling isset or empty, for example, inaccessible public or private or non-existent properties. So unset here, that's a magic method of unset, is invoked when unset is used on inaccessible, say for example, public or private or non-existent properties. And here when we put a name, argument is the name of the property being interacted with. The set method's value argument specifies the value, the named property. For example, we can put here you can put a name, or you can put for example, attribute, whichever you want to do. Say for example, you can change this one as an attribute as well, but we're gonna put a name. And according to PHP documentation, the return value here is ignored because the way the PHP processes the assignment operator. And similarly, the get, the top guy is here, is never called when containing assignment together like this. For example, this is according to PHP documentation. For example, if you have a variable here and you have your object, and you have attribute somewhere, and you, for example, if you assign, for example, 10, this one's going to be never going to be called. And keep in mind, we need this one with this guy here, these top two guys here. We need this one. If you the minimum this one, if you want to use this one, up to you, or this one up to you. But you guys, for a property overloading in the PHP, you guys need at least these two. You guys need the getter and the setter, but this is the magic method. So I'm going to explain this one again. To the get is invoked when we access our when we want to access our read data from not declared or not accessible. So what we mean by not accessible is attributes like protected or private attributes. And set is invoked when try to write data to not declared or not accessible. And by that we mean that attributes such as by attributes like properties of like protected or private properties. All we need to do is implement these two special methods in our class to avail the dynamic created a runtime attribute. And here the set, it accepts any type. If you look in here, it's a mixed value in the second, this guy is here. and this guy here, get, it returns the data. But if the data is like this, then this going to be get ignored. Keep in mind, this is according to PHP documentation. And now here, if you're wondering why we put a mix, it means that it's a mix of data types. So for example, data types, what's a mixed data types? For example, we have int, we can put an int here, we can put a double here, we can put a string here, we can put an array or objects. So instead of mix, you can put an int, or you can put a double, or you can put a, for example, string, or you can put array here. You can put a array, not like this, array like this. You can put array, you can put a, and even objects, you can put objects, your objects as well here. So that's what we put a mix here. So now we're gonna start making small program. Alright, so now we know how to how property overloaded works in a PHP, that we're going to create some dynamic properties. We're going to create something like, for example, we're going to create a class, say a social class. For example, we put a user, we put a class. Keep in mind, this user class is just a made up class by me. You can put your name. For example, I could put here as Danny, or you can put a Croywood. You can put anything you guys like. You don't have to put a user class. And then you need to put a, say for example, private, and we need to put a data or something like that. So this our data is going to be array. So now we have one attribute, it's a private, we call it data. And keep in mind, some people they put it like that. So why they put it like that? So this one shows that this attribute are going to interact with the magic methods. That's the only reason. So when you see like that, or you're going to see like that, so just assume this is a private, and this is going to interact with the magic methods. Some people they put a private like this, but you don't have to put it like this. That there is no one in PHP that says that you put underscore here. You don't have to put it there. And now we have data, which is the type private, and here we have array. Then this is going to be array. So and now we need to put a public. And we put a function, and we put a set, and keep in mind, as we said before, that the set one takes 2. So here I put it set, and we put a get. The get for example takes at least 1, and the set one takes a name and a value. So this one, the set one takes 2, and the get one takes 1 parameter. And you can put a, for example, name, and you can put a value, or you can put something else up, whatever you guys like. Some people they put a property, some people they put attributes. So function, and we put a get. And this get here takes at least 1, and we're gonna pass that. We're gonna put this name. So just to remind you, the function set takes 2 parameters here, the name and the value, and the function get gets only 1. So here now we're gonna come down in the set function, and we're gonna put this. We refer to our data, which is our attribute, and with this guy here, which is the type array. And the first one is we're gonna put a name here. So we put a name, and we're gonna assign this value. So we're gonna check if the key exists. So we're gonna put if, and there is inbuilt function array key exists, array key, and that's there, array key exists. And what's the key? The key is gonna be our name. And what's array? Array is gonna be our data. So we're gonna put this, gonna be the data. And what else? What happens if it's not undefined property? What happens if the array key exists, for example? Then we're going to return it, and we're going to say this. We're going to put a data, then we put a name. Keep in mind we can put this one here as well, but because but this is the safe way. For example, if there is no array key, then we're gonna see this undefined property. Otherwise, if you don't put this one, we might get an error. Then you guys might even notice not notice there is some problem here. Now we're gonna instantiate our object, so I'm gonna put all of them a little bit close. Okay, so now that's my class. Okay, keep in mind that you always check where your class ends. Okay, so now we have a user class, and we're going to create our dynamic property here. And for example, we're going to create a full name as if we have a full name here, because we don't have a full name there. So we put a user, and we put a new user class. You can put a pet class as well if you like. So we put a user, and we can put a user full name user, my full name, for example. You can put a full name. And what's our full name? For example, we can put a I am Donald Trump, or for example I'm Joe Biden. You can put your name. I am my full name. Yes, Danny, for example. You can put your name. So now we have our, you can put my full name is Donald Trump, or my full name is Joe Biden, and you can then echo your full name. Say for example, we have an object user, and now we're gonna put a full name, and we're gonna put a PHP EOL. This is a very good habit if you put a PHP end of line. Alright, so what happened here? What just happened here? We have created class, and we have got a property, and that's our property is going to be private, and it's going to be safe. Now it's going to be the type of array, and we have a magic method here of set and get, and we said that set takes two parameter here. You can put a name, property, attribute, whatever. Our name, you can put whatever here, and you can put a value here, and here this we put this data, and we are assigning this name here, which is the parameter here. We are putting this name with our data, which is the type array, and here we are assigning this value, and here we are getting this one, and we're checking if this array key exists as a name, and that's a key, and this our array. So we are returning this if you can't find this one. Otherwise we just put an error, undefined property. So we put an error, and we're going to see that there is something wrong with our program. So now we're going to create for example user class, and we put a user full name. So this full name is we just created here with this object, because that's where we are creating our dynamic properties. Now we are creating dynamic attributes, as we said in our in the beginning of this video. So in our loading PHP provides means to dynamically create properties and methods, and as we said that these dynamic entities are processed via magic methods. So we can establish in a class for various action types. So now we are creating the two magic methods here, and it runs through this one. Say for example, previously we have created class pets, and we didn't put a, for example, we put a pet name, pet if it's wild or domestic. Say for then we put a lot of say here we put a name, type, color, legs here. So but we didn't put a, say for example, tag. we didn't put a tag in our properties here. Say we didn't put a public tag, we didn't put a public, for example vaccinated, we didn't put this one. So we did not put this one in our program, we only put this one. So how about if we through this creating dynamic, now we're going to close this one and we are not going to save this one, we're going to close this one and we are not. How about we put this two here at the runtime? That's what we are talking about. Say for example, through this object, you don't put this one on top here, we are not going to declare that one, we're going to create this one here, just like a full name. We can do that through our overloading properties in PHP. So now that you're going to see the power of PHP, that we're going to create the attributes at the runtime. So this full name is not on top. Now I'm creating this full name here, and I'm even initializing this one with my name. You can put your name, you can put Joe Biden, Donald Trump, your pet name, whatever you like, but the whole subject is here. So we're gonna create our dynamic here properties. So we're gonna save and we're gonna go here and we're gonna run our program, and you're gonna see that my full name is Yazdani. So yes, you're gonna see here that we have created our dynamic property here just by running the two magic methods here. Say you can put a more as well. Say for example, we can put a user. Say for example, my city, for example, our my address. Say for example, you can put a Washington DC, and then you can echo, you put a break, and we put an echo, you put a user, my city, and you can even put a nice ones here, my address is, for example, I live in the city, my city is, for example, and you can put a user city here, and we're gonna run. So it says unexpected on line 39. Sorry, we should put a concatenation here, not a colon. So we're gonna here, my full name is Yazdani and my city is Washington DC. How cool is this? Now if you look in here, we have we haven't got the my city and full name on top. Just like for example, we put a public my city, our public my full name, for example, full name here like that, and you can put a dollar here. But instead of this all, we just created one data and we put array, and here we're gonna put it in runtime. How cool is this? We're creating all our attributes. So this is the attribute overloading in PHP. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe Korea Wood. If you guys have any question or comment, leave in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.